I have this idea that stemmed from several conversations over the last few months with fellow mom friends and seeing posts in different Facebook groups. What about exactly? How completely overwhelmed moms are by all the things going on throughout their day. The kids, work, evening routine, etc. When the kids are bathed and in bed, mama is done. She has a hard time finding the energy to shower, let alone prep for the next morning, and hardly able to maintain a clean house on top of all of this. They struggle with fitting everything in and trying to catch up with housework on weekends, but don't want to spend the entire time doing that. So this naturally sparked an idea in me, and it's been quite some time now. The idea is about teaching and guiding overwhelmed moms how to manage their time so that she's able to do all the things she needs to get done and not feel tired by the end of the day. And this is done through a training inside a community. The purpose of this community is that it's a safe place where moms can support and encourage one another. And the training, it will be guided. It's to help and teach moms to go from overwhelmed, completely drained, and unable to find time to fit what they need and want to get done, to feeling more on top of her to-do list, able to organize her home that's quick to tidy by all, and feel less drained by the end of the day. Here's the thing though, the training, it's in its raw form, and the community, it's not created yet, but I'm inviting you to co-create it with me. Join me now in this journey and become a founding member. So why would you join, you say? For the benefits, of course. Benefit number 1, because we'll be creating this space together, I'll be looking for your feedback and ideas on the training. You'll also help shape the community and essentially have tremendous influence on its direction. Benefit number 2, it'll be the lowest price it'll ever be offered because once the training is formalized and membership is ready to go and be open to the public, it will be at a higher price. But as a founding member, your introductory price of $20 per month will be locked in for as long as you're a member in good standing and have lifetime updates as we continue to refine the training from this point forward. Now, if any of this sounded interesting to you, send me a DM on Facebook or Instagram at One Tidy Place or an email to diane@dianejimenez.com no later than Monday, May 2nd, 2022, and I'll follow up with the details. I can't wait to have you along the journey with me as a founding member. All right, so today's episode is kind of like a switcheroo. So remember I interviewed fellow professional organizer Stéphanie Galipeau? So today I'm sharing with you a conversation I had with another fellow organizer who's also become a close friend too. Funny thing is, though, we haven't even known each other that long. She became a member of the Professional Organizers in Canada back in January 2021. And I think our first ever conversation ended up being 3 hours long over coffee and giggles over the phone. Like it was just laughs, shared stories over similar family situations, and her love for charcuterie. Just a few months after she started. I don't know, but have you ever met someone and it just clicked? Anyway, it was as though we were meant to be friends. Talking about meeting kindred spirits, there's a bit of a woo-woo about how this whole conversation that I'm going to share with you started. So Marie-Odette Moubayed from Casa, also working here in Montreal, Quebec, called me up one day to do this whole conversation thing live on Instagram. She's never gone live before and was really nervous about it. And she said to me, who better to do this with than Diane? And here's where the woo-woo part comes in. Before she called, I was thinking about her that week, or even just a few days before, about doing some collaboration thing. Crazy, isn't it? So in today's episode, like I mentioned earlier, is something different where I'm sharing the conversation I had with fellow pro organizer and gal pal. We'll be covering time management, how we set up and plan our weekly schedules, how we set up our goals, and share what works for us when it comes to managing our tasks. Remember, this was a recording from an Instagram Live, so the volume or sound might be a little different from what I normally put out each week. And I almost forgot to mention, I'm so glad to be able to share this with you because, like Instagram Live newbies that we are, it was accidentally deleted from her feed just a few minutes after we ended the live. And now you have it right here for your listening pleasures anytime you want. So let's get this whole thing started. Let's go. Hey there, I'm Diane Jimenez, owner and founder of One Tidy Place. I created this podcast because I know parents have their hands full. I know this because I have 3 kids of my own. Each week, we'll talk about all things organizing and getting the kids involved too. So while you tidy up, go out for a walk, or just need some real talk, I'm here for you. Are you ready? Let's do this.
This is very exciting. Our first live together. And I'm happy. I'm actually happy because I have problems with time management and I know you're pretty much an expert in time management. I had a few questions for you.
Oh man.
That I'm
I thought
sure
we were just
that
going to
some
have a
people,
conversation.
yeah, I'm sure some people will benefit from these tips you're going to give. I remember the first time we spoke about this, you told me that having time slots where you can actually put in everything you have to do and then working around that really helps in not cramming your schedule.
Yes, exactly. But let's first introduce ourselves because
Yes.
you have your people and I have my people and they don't know what we do or who we are.
That's right. That's right. Okay. So go first. Go first, Diane.
Okay, so I'm Diane. My company name is One Tidy Place. I am a professional organizer, just like Madame Marie-Odette, here in Montreal, in the West Island of Montreal. So a little far from my gal pal here. And
South Shore vibes.
I'm a mom of 3, and my specialty basically is helping families get organized and helping parents get organized their life and their home so that the kids are involved too, because mama can't do everything by herself. Well, she can, but she could use some help. So I'm there to get everybody on board because it shouldn't fall on just us,
Yeah, I definitely know that's a very good point. And even you say we can do it all, but I gave up multitasking a long time ago just because I don't feel I can give 100% to whatever task I'm doing if I have something else on the back burner or I'm thinking of another task that has to be done. Of course, you can get something done while a load of laundry is actually cleaning on its own. But knowing that I actually have to help with homework, prepare supper, plan day camps, upcoming day camps, or doctor appointments or whatever,
and answer all the questions
and answer all exactly
and then be the referee.
Yeah, exactly. So as for myself, I'm also a home organizer. I don't do as much virtual as my friend Diane over here, who works very closely with families. I do a lot of in-home decluttering. That's my niche. I love to help families declutter, find their space back, especially when they've lost control of their spaces. That overwhelming mess, that paralyzing mess that just stops us from actually moving forward, leaves us just blocked. So basically, that's what I like to do. I'm a mom of 4, 2 generations, big kids, little kids, and a full house. Everybody's still at home. So there's always action. There's always incoming, outgoing, girlfriends, friends. I don't mind the noise. I don't mind the laughing, the screaming, the crying. I do need a bit of quiet time though. I'm very strong on quiet time. And so that's it. I started my company about a year ago and I'm just loving it. I'm loving connecting with all these people that need help clearing their space. So tell me, I know you're very good on helping moms manage their time. You're very good on helping moms organize they're not just their living space, but they're this over here. Yes, yes.
We should give a shout out to this Montreal company, W. Maxwell.
Yeah.
Saint-Henri, Montreal.
They're amazing.
I've been getting their planners for the past 4 years now.
Yeah, they're absolutely amazing. And I love how the time slots in here are so well defined. You have enough space to actually write notes, to actually manage your schedule half hour by half hour.
So you can plug in what you have for the month.
Yeah.
And then after that, plug it in during the week. And then whatever things that you need to get done during the day too. So
you do both? You do monthly and weekly? Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, I started this. So like just going back to answering your question of how I plan my week. So it goes even bigger than that. So I'll go step out and then zone in for what to be done on a daily, actually. So I started looking into this. I really put my foot down, I think, when school started this year.
Okay.
Everything started getting back in track. And I had to say, okay, I need to get my business back on track and I want to be on top of that. So I printed out from my computer 4 months worth of calendars. So
Okay.
from September till December. And then I had plugged in all the things that I want done for my business. I start basically with the fixed stuff. So what cannot move and I don't have a control over, but what I want and that has no flexibility. So I'll plug those in my calendar on a monthly and then on a weekly and then on a daily. And I'll show you that in a second. But I go out first and then after that I zone in. So I plug in all the things that I want that need to get done and I want done. So those are my objectives for a quarter.
Okay.
And then when I get to the quarter, I'm very visual. So I need to see the pictures. I need to see where things land. And then after that, I'll break it down in the weeks. And then I'll have 3 objectives for my business down here of what I want done. And then I'll plug it in on the days that I have space. So just going back to being more visual, when I set up my week every day, because I also work at the school, I supervise lunch. So those I cannot move. So I will block off the lunch period, including my travel time. And I'll even block out a space for my lunch time, whether I'm going to decide to take it after or before. So those would be really like, I can't move those. And then I have big chunks in the morning of space. And before I used to block it out and mark like prepare the kids lunches and get them ready for school. So I really had a small portion of me time before the kids wake up and right after the kids go to school. And then after that, I have to go to work. So I always had that little block of time. But now that the kids are more organized and they make their own lunches, my mornings are open. In the afternoon, same thing. I will block it off after 4 o'clock. I know they're walking in here and it's time for me to shut down. And then I will make sure that my spaces that I work before and after lunch are focused on the goals that I had set for this week.
Okay, so just to recapitulate, so you set your fixed content or your fixed objectives, let's say for the quarter. And then once you've done that and it's fixed, you actually give yourself weekly objectives for your business that are going to go in the free time slots where you are alone, your kids aren't home. So this is business wise. How do you fit personal time in there?
Personal time. Whew, that's a work in progress.
Okay.
But I started recently a pole fitness class. I don't know if I've told you.
No, that's so interesting. Really?
This is week 2. I did a pole class 10 years ago when my firstborn was just a baby. It was 9 months. I decided I want to feel like myself again. I want to feel sexy. I want to feel like,
How old are your kids now?
11, 9, and 8. So grade 2, grade 4, grade 6.
Wow. Okay. So
Yeah,
it's been a while.
It's just been a couple of years. But yeah, 10 years ago, I tried a pole dancing class and it was really fun. It's so hard. And yesterday it was great. So I'm around different women. I think they're younger than me. And I don't think they have kids, but the teachers have kids, so it's great. But there's no judgment, and so I have the pole classes once a week. And now soon I'll be starting my jujitsu classes again.
If I remember correct, you do as a family.
Yes, we were doing jujitsu as a family, especially with COVID. We were doing in the basement on Zoom. So the kids would have their classes, the adults would have their classes, and it was great. And then once things started opening up, well, everybody went and I stayed. I stopped completely just because I didn't feel comfortable leaving while the kids are home or, I'm always gone at night. But now they're talking about opening ladies classes only for jiu-jitsu. They're going to be on Sundays and Thursday nights.
So is your pole dancing during the night as well?
Yes,
like in the
it's
evening?
after the kids go to sleep at 8:30.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. All right. Perfect. So during the day, you don't necessarily, like in the morning, do you give yourself a bit of coffee time for mommy only or?
There's always time for coffee.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
All right. So basically your me time is after the kids go to bed.
I've been doing observation about myself that I only feel comfortable and just almost more creative at night. I've always been creative past 9 o'clock, and then I get that surge of energy. I think now, especially because I'm a mom and a wife, when everybody's taken care of and they're asleep and safe, then my mind starts going. Kind of like when you're in the shower, you have all these ideas.
Totally.
Well, that happens when everybody's snoring and I can't help it. Then it's 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like,
That I find a bit of a struggle actually, because I'm not much of a morning person, although I will get up a half hour before everybody else for a bit of meditation. I started yoga again. Now that we're 2 years into the pandemic, I gave myself that objective. I said, I'm getting back on that mat, even if it's 10 minutes, just to say I'm starting again. I really miss it. I miss my hot yoga actually. I don't know why I can't seem to take those evenings and just go.
Yeah.
But I find that after the kids go to bed at 9, they go to bed at 8, 8:30. But when I actually get to my room at 9 or 9:30, I'm zonked. I'm gone. I'm like finished. I'm exhausted. I just have a bit of reading time, magazine, whatever. I need a good 9 hours of sleep. So it's hard for me to actually say I go to bed at 11, wake up at 6, like a lot of normal people do. I need those extra Z's. So I try to fit personal time in my day just to make sure I get some sort of fulfillment. Because if I'm always doing mommy duty, business duty, home duty, wife duty, I feel that at a certain point, me duty is set aside, and I'm there like, okay, well, where do I fit this time? And like, I don't have the energy at 9 o'clock at night to say, okay, I'm sitting down and I'm going to plan, or I'm going to do this, etc. So I'm really trying to find like a time in my day. So far, the only time I found is before they wake up. And that's a struggle for myself because I'm not a morning person.
I get it.
So do you think that within my time slots during the day, I can fit in some personal time, some me time?
Of course. And I heard in the podcast also, because it's also for your mental health.
Yeah.
And your well-being, and you define what's healthy for you mentally. So it could be taking a walk, it could be just like hugging your kids and playing with them, or just quiet, or having your coffee, going on your yoga mat and doing some stretches for like 10 minutes. So as long as you have something that helps you disconnect from everybody else in a healthy, positive way, whatever it is, and you decide to do that at a specific time, like on a daily routine or wherever you can plug it in, and that works for you. There's no recipe. It's like, oh, you should do this and you should do, like, yeah, there's an ideal calendar, there's an ideal schedule, but especially for mental health, because not every day is the same. We're not stressed out the same way every day. So finding those tips and those outlets to plug in for ourselves at certain times when we need it, I think it's a balancing act, and I think you're golden if you can find that and find that outlet to feel rejuvenated and re-energized and at peace again, so that you can keep going throughout your day.
You see, I'm going to stop you there where you said our days are not all the same. So do you plan your weeks like pretty much Monday I do my content planning, Tuesday I'm going to do, let's say, my exercises, Wednesday I'm going to, like, do you have set days with set schedules?
Well, because of the classes and because of my job at the school, those are the set schedules. So those are immovable. If I decide to add more exercise time, let's say, that's on me to plug it into those open spaces.
Okay.
So that just also means that I have less time to focus on my business if I have certain objectives that I want to meet. So
and I have a question. So let's say that you actually give yourself a time slot for a task, no matter what the task is, and you tell yourself, all right, from, let's say I have to leave home at 12, I give myself from 10 to 11 to do task A, and task B, let's say from 11 to 12. Your task isn't done from 10 to 11. Do you move on to task B? Do you cut your time short for task B, or do you stop whatever you're doing and start task B?
That's a great question. And I have to backtrack from that, because before I get to 10 o'clock task A, I will have had to organize that task schedule and what I'm doing next week the prior week. Like Friday night or Thursday, like at the end of the week before.
Yeah.
Before Monday starts. So anytime before Monday, I will plan it out on Sunday if it's been busy all week and it's been crazy. But usually on Fridays, I can sit down and look at my big plan and say what needs to be done, and I will go according to that. So as long as you start with a wider objective and then narrow it down, there's almost no room for straying. And if you know that your content planning is going to take you 2 hours or 3 hours to put up like an Instagram reel, and you want to do that, and that's part of how you naturally do business,
Yeah.
then you have to say, okay, Thursday, 3 hours is how much it takes me to do my Instagram reels.
Yeah.
And that's part of your routine, and you don't stray from that.
Okay, but my question is, let's say you gave yourself 3 hours, you're 3 hours in, and you realize it's going to take you four. Do you continue, or do you just say, okay, I'm stopping at 3 hours and I'll continue when I have some extra time?
It depends. Sometimes I'll do that,
Okay.
depending. And then sometimes it'll eat up into my lunchtime. And then part of me is like, you know what? Better good, like done is better than not done. Just
True.
get
I
it
agree.
done
Yeah.
and get it out there. And it doesn't matter because you can always try again the week after and be better, be faster, think quicker,
I
eat
also
out.
prefer having one task done than two tasks open but not completely finished. So I totally agree, because then they're always in the back of your mind.
Exactly. But you also have to put your foot down sometimes saying this has to be done by, if you
Yes.
didn't finish it Monday between 10 and 11, then what's your next hard line? Like by Wednesday, this has to be done. Like fini, or forget about it and then try again next week. You know, you
And,
can't let it
do you work
linger.
well on pressure?
I think we all do. When time's a factor,
Totally. That timer for me is precious, because when I feel that I'm up against the clock, that it's ticking, I think that's one of my tricks. Two things. I have to write it down, and I have to have like a timer ticking. And that's something that's worked for me a few times actually, that I'll give myself certain objectives of things that absolutely have to be done. And what I'll do is that I'll calculate, and it's not always fair because some things don't take the same amount as others. So
yeah.
if I have, let's say, 6 items that have to be done, whether it's making a phone call, sending out an email, setting a load of laundry, it can be all mixed up in one big melting pot. And I have, let's say, 2 hours, 120 minutes. I have 6 items to do. I divide them by 120
Oh,
minutes. That's 20 minutes each thing. I set my timer. I'm on the timer. 20 minutes an item, and then I tick them off the list one as they go. And it's almost as if I have no choice. I have to get it done. I have 20 minutes to make that phone call that I set up for 20 minutes can maybe take only 5, 7,
hmm.
10 minutes. Well, it gives me an extra 10 minutes for the next activity,
That's,
or to take a break, or whatever it is, you know?
that's
So
great. I told you how I work my schedule. How do you work your schedule for the week?
oh boy, my schedule is very, it's a work in progress. It's a constant work in progress, because I've always had 9 to 5 jobs, basically. Even when I was working on the road, even when I had my own set schedule, I knew that I would log on at 9 and I would shut off at 5. You know, it was just, that's the way my everything worked. And then when I started my business, I had this sort of free time. So actually filling in those slots and not knowing how to like deal or manage that extra time was quite a challenge.
Yeah.
So now I'm working very hard, actually, as you say, filling in those slots in a more structured way, which isn't always easy, actually, because sometimes I'll say, oh, yeah, Monday I'm going to content plan. And then something comes up and I'm, oh man, I didn't even content plan. And then I find myself at 2 a.m. thinking, gosh, what am I going to actually write, and what am I going to do, and what am I going to post? And I'm talking about content planning because everybody's on Instagram, like all businesses, I mean, are doing some form of social media, or most of them.
Yeah.
And it's part of the reality today, you know? Like I worked for
Hmm.
Yellow Pages 22 years, which was great, but it's a whole other reality than social media. As an entrepreneur, I'm talking. So it's not like I can actually print something in the directory for a year and then just forget about it. You know, it's
No.
something I have to maintain. I constantly modify my schedule on a day to day or on a week to week. So I really try working with your time slot system, which I find brilliant, actually, because when you know that it's stuck there in your calendar, well, you can't move around it. So if you actually work around what's left, it's a lot more feasible and realizable, if you want. Okay, well, that makes sense. I have this extra time. I have those 3 hours in the morning from 9 to 12. What can I fit into that schedule? And so I'll work around it that way. But I like to like what I'm doing. And that could be tricky because that makes me procrastinate sometimes, which I know a lot of us do. But I'm working on that one too, because very often I'll procrastinate on something I don't want to do. For example, getting documents ready for taxes. So I'm there like, yeah, I know I have to do it. I have to do it. Yeah, okay, Monday. Yeah, okay. Oh, no, I can't Monday. Wednesday. Oh, no, Friday. I'm actually working on saying, I got to get it done. And once I get it done, it's off my mind. And I don't want to have that stuff in my mind anymore. That's where I am
Right.
right now in my life, that I want to have peace of mind, clarity, and I want to keep moving forward. I don't want to
Yeah.
just stagnate on what has to be done, and I get it out of the way.
But it's funny because the things that we put off for days and days and weeks, don't you realize sometimes it's like, oh my God, it only took 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Just get it done. Just get
exactly.
it done.
Exactly. I also find that there are certain traits of personality or certain people that just need to be, okay, I'm ready to do it now. So I stop fighting the fact that sometimes I'll have to do something that I don't want to do. And I'll just say, okay, you know what? I know it has to be done. I know I have a time frame to do it. If I don't feel like doing it now, it's fine too. You know, at a certain point, I find we put ourselves so much pressure, moms, as human beings. Oh my gosh, I've got to do this, you know, and we're scared of failure. We're scared of time. We're scared of so many things that sometimes we just don't get things done, or we get them done because we feel we have to, but we don't feel like it. So it just creates a sort of gray cloud over our heads. So I decided to make peace with that and say, okay, there's my time frame. If I don't feel like doing it now, I'll do it later. Now I'll do what I feel like doing. Still have time to do the other things, and I'll feel happy about it. Feeling fulfilled is super important in your day-to-day schedule. And regardless of whether you're working or you're having fun or playing with your kids, it's okay to say no to one of your kids, to say, you know what, mommy can't play now. She'll play with you later. But right now, mommy wants to, let's say, finish reading her magazine. I'm just saying, you know? And so I find it sets expectations for everybody around you when you say, I can't handle this now. I can't do it now because mommy's busy. I'm busy or whatever, and I'll do it later. But I find that when I do write things down and they're part of my to-do list, it's a lot easier to integrate in my schedule afterwards and get it done.
There's a thing my husband and I have been doing for years, and it's sharing our calendar on our phone. And a lot of time, if it's not there, it doesn't exist.
Oh, yes, it's true.
Or if the other person doesn't know about it. Like this live, I put it on the calendar. Normally, when I would do my own Facebook lives, it was almost like he wouldn't even know about it. But because I was doing consistently on a weekly basis, especially during COVID, I was on my Facebook every single week, I think for 7 months. It was almost automatic for him. So I didn't really need to tell him. But for this one, I'm going live during this time. Don't bother me type thing. I didn't say that, but it's like it's on the schedule so he knows, you know, or if I have to drive my mom to the bank like I did yesterday and I have to do it again next week, I'll include stuff like that that has nothing to do with him, but it's just including the other person in our life and it's on the schedule. So.
I think that's brilliant, actually. And I think it's actually great to bond as a couple, since how many quality hours do you have a week with your spouse, you know?
I barely saw him this week.
Well, that's it. So just that, I feel like sort of keeps you in touch, you know? And I find it hard. Like, I mean, oh, remember I have this coming up tomorrow night. I'm there. I don't remember, you know? So
it's too much brain power, you know, going back and back. It's like you're searching for your files and it's a waste of time. Like if it's on the schedule, it's there, it's written.
Absolutely. And I find it's nice to feel included, you know, as a wife or as a husband or as a partner. So we do that a lot, actually. And it's funny because sometimes we will forget, either he or I, and I'm there, it's not in the calendar. What do you mean? No, it's not. But I totally agree with you on that. It does get very heavy on the brain when you have to manage your own schedule, the other person's schedule, but it's not written. Even the kids' stuff is written in my schedule.
So going back to how we organize our week, I start with fixed stuff. It's kind of like when you do your budgeting. You know, it's like you start with your fixed and then you plug in what's left for your variable. So I think I got that from the accounting courses I've taken over the years. So this is the first time we decided to do this, having a conversation between two professional organizers, moms, business owners, entrepreneurs.
So if you have anything to share with us, something that could help other moms, other people out there that find that time management can sometimes be a struggle, you're not alone. I find the best way to learn is by sharing these experiences and just talking about our day-to-day reality.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for joining. Thanks so much, Diane. This was great.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you. Ciao.